what is copy activity skip count? This is the topic of the day. Let me go to any of the pipeline. If you see, uh, let's open first of all any of the pipeline to see where we can see this option. So in source, if you go at the bottom, we have already discussed recursively and enable partition discovery. Now skip line count. Okay. So this is the topic we need to discuss, right? And what is the use of this topic? So let me explain you briefly about this one. So far you have consumed, multiple files, okay, from input container to output container, and you have used copy activity to perform the data movement part. Okay. So what you are doing, you are having some CSV file or any file, right, in your input container. So basically, in that file, you have seen that data is there, and the first row comes as a heading or column name, right? And we have other rows available in the other section. So if I want to show this, I can go to the storage account. So let's open the storage account. This is the storage account, and let's go to any input container first. So let's say this is my input container. And if I talked about this table, okay, the input table, right? So if I edit this, I can see that my first row is nothing but a column name, right? And starting from second row to whatever rows we are having, like 429, is the actual data. These are the record counts, right? Now imagine if my first row is having some, description or some junk values, which we want to skip. So how we can do that? And it happens because whenever you download any data from any of the system, right, from any ERP system or anywhere, so let's suppose if I want to, if I add this some content, this is, or I can see like this: welcome to my company, something like that. Some text is there. This data is about the cars model. We can use to develop our sales analysis, something like that, right? Let's save this. So what I did, I added 3 lines, which is actually not a data, but it's a comment. Now this comment is not required for my analysis. So definitely I have to skip this comment. Now in such kind of scenarios, what action I can take, right? So I have already saved this file. You can see with this irrelevant comment, which I don't want, right? So what I can do, I can go to my pipeline, okay? And I can use this functionality. So this is my ADF pipeline. So let's create a new pipeline. So I'm going to create a new pipeline and I will name this as a PL underscore skip line count. So I will skip those lines which I don't want. Okay. So I'm going to hide my property and I'm going to drag and drop the copy activity, and I can give the name some logical names, copy skip lines, okay, something like that, because I want to demonstrate the functionality of this. Rest of the things is okay. I don't have to touch it. Okay, in source, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a data set. So I will use this Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. Click on continue, and because my file is a CSV file, right? This is the CSV file. So I will use CSV. Okay, I will hit on continue and I will give this a new data set name, that is ds underscore cars input. Okay, and because this is already existing, so I can give this naming as one link services. Okay, and I can browse my file. So where is my file? My file is available here. Okay, in this container. This is the container name. This is the storage account name, and within this storage account name, these are the containers. I am in the input container, right? So and believe when you are doing any load first time, right, it will ask to for enabling this interactive authorization, because actually it is disabled. And why it is disabled? To save our cost. Okay, so I have to hit on this, and I have to go to virtual network. I have to enable it, and it will enable for 60 minutes. All right, so it will take some time to get it enabled, so let it enabled. For this is done, so I'm going to retry. Now this is my input container, and in this container, because I want to load this specific file within the container, so I'm going to choose my file as well. Okay, I will hit on OK, and because my first row is header, correct? But right now, if I choose this first row as header, what will happen? My first row is not header right now, correct? But let choose this one as of now. Import schema is from connection store, because I want to import the structure of the table. Okay, and so I have to choose this option, so I will hit on OK. Fine, so you can see. Okay, let me hide this one. This will give more space. I can expand this also to show you much better way. So this is the data set that we have created for our file. So because we have selected the file path name, so this option is enabled. That is fine. I'm not using this filter last modified date. That's fine. You can see this skip line options. Okay, so before going that, let's preview the data. Because if you preview the data, you have given instruction that your first row would be header. So that's why, because whenever you give this instruction first row as a header, system used to create the structure of the table, structure of data basically. So here you can see that because everything, because this is a comma separated file. Did you understand the concept of comma separated file? CSV stands for comma separated file, right? So every data is separated with the help of comma. Okay, so if I want to show you this, I can open any of the CSV file, for example this one, right? So if you see, every data is separated with the help of comma, and based on that, comma is again replaced with the help of grid. Okay, this Asia comes under one cell, this Japan comes under the second cell, right? So it is separated with the help of comma. But if you see my file, like if you see here, we don't have any comma in these lines, right? So it reads that there is no other column, but its entire data is in one single column, right? So what it does, it has created only one column, and within one column all the data is captured, because it is reading first row as a header. Okay, so that was the problem, right? So how to do this? How to do this is, we can make this as a 3. And why 3? Because I know I have to skip first 3 lines, and if I skip first 3 lines, my fourth line will become the header. Agree? So if you click on this data preview right now, you can see immediately it skipped those irrelevant line, and it treated the fourth line as a first row and created the structure accordingly. Now you understood the concept and why it is used. Okay, now I'm going to create a sink, and again the sink is same. I will select ADLS Gen 2. I will create a CSV data set. and I will give a name of the data set. Okay, so ds underscore cars output. Okay, if name, okay, this name is new, I can use there. So again, what you can do, you can select any folder, like I'm selecting this output container, that's it. Okay, and what I will do, I will select none because I'm generating the file. I'm creating the data set. So I don't have to import the structure. So that's why I'm keeping as a none. And my first row is a header, so I'm making it enabled. Okay, so I hit on OK, right? I will go to mapping, and if I want to import schema, I can do that. I don't want to change anything within the schema. However, I can do the changes. For example, I can move this up, okay, or I can rename this, whatever it is, right? I can do that. So I'm not going to do this right now. Okay, and what I can do is I can execute or debug my pipeline before publishing it, so that if there's any error, it will show me that error, and I'm going to refresh this and I will wait for some time to get it over. Okay, finally it succeeded. So we can check the data. This is my input data. Okay, these three lines are not required, and I have used this skip line functionality. So what I will do, I will go to my output container, and this is my output container which I selected in my data set, and I can see that this file has generated. Now the problem is this was generated as .txt file because I have not chosen the file path as CSV, but that's not a problem. I can even see the data. So you can see the data has successfully generated. Okay, and these, the top three lines which was not required, now it was skipped. Okay, so I hope this will be clear to you. Fine.